What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on another episode. If this is your first time here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you'll know when I put out future videos. Also, check out the merch store. T-shirts are available there, and more stuff is coming on the way. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Avengers Endgame. They've added something to the movie. They've added a post-credit scene. I should say post-credit trailer, actually. And it is for Spider-Man Far From Home. So why are they doing this now after the movie has been out for about 3 weeks now? I think this is just another way for them to market Spider-Man Far From Home. This is the next movie in the MCU, and it is the movie that will conclude Phase 3 of the MCU. But I started thinking a little bit more about this. Not only is Spider-Man Far From Home the end of Phase 3 of the MCU, but I think this is a way to say, hey, Spider-Man is the new Iron Man. Now, they even kind of mentioned this in the trailer if you listen closely. They even have a scene in there and it says, what are you trying to be, the next Iron Man? And this completely makes sense. Spider-Man really overall is the most popular character in the Marvel Universe. Comic books, they had already had two very successful movies with Spider-Man under Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man back in the early 2000s. People love Spider-Man. Now, we know that Kevin Feige said that he wanted to make Captain Marvel the future of the MCU. I think that is a big mistake. I think it should be Spider-Man. Actually, when the MCU started, I thought it was going to be Spider-Man all along. But we saw that Iron Man became extremely popular and also Captain America. But it is Spider-Man's time. I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Spider-Man Homecoming was okay. It wasn't terrible. But they need a hit with this Spider-Man movie. And I do think that this Spider-Man movie will make over $1 billion at the box office. It's kind of getting somewhat of the same treatment as Captain Marvel. If you look at Captain Marvel, it was the perfect storm for that movie. It was coming right before Endgame, and they kind of marketed it as like a setup to Avengers Endgame. But that really wasn't the case. Now, with Spider-Man, you kind of saw like a passing of the torch at the end of Avengers Endgame to where Tony Stark dies, but yet his protege is still there in Peter Parker. So if you look at the history of Spider-Man, one would think that going forward, he has to be the face of the MCU. Because what other character do they have that is extremely popular with fans in the comic books and the movies? They really don't have one if it isn't Spider-Man. Captain Marvel, not even a popular comic book character. They've canceled and changed up that character like 4 times in the comic book. And now, recently, they're having a hard time selling Captain Marvel comic books. Now, if you look at the movie, yes, the movie made $1.1 billion, and the critics gave it a decent score on Rotten Tomatoes, but the fans have it as rotten. It's sitting at a 56 on the Rotten Tomatoes score, and that's not very good for a MCU movie or any movie at all, really. So, how can she be the face of the MCU when she's not even very popular with the fan base? Nobody knows. So Spider-Man be getting an end credit scene at the end of Avengers Endgame, I think they should have done it from the beginning, really. To me, that would have been the first time I actually would have put out that trailer. I wouldn't have put out the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer before Avengers Endgame. That way, people can actually watch the movie, and everybody knows that they usually put out end credit scenes. I would have told people, hey, we have something special at the end of the movie in the end credit scenes, and then bam, you're setting up Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, they're doing it in week 3. I don't know how much of an effect it will have on Spider-Man Far From Home, because the vast majority of people have already watched Avengers Endgame. So maybe they're just hoping that repeat viewers will go and watch the movie and see the end credit scene. Also, the trailer has already been out for a while, so I don't know if it was necessary to put out a trailer at the end of the movie now. But I get the feeling that Spider-Man will end up being the face of the MCU. Kevin Feige says that he wants it to be Captain Marvel, but I think the fans determine who is the face of a movie franchise, not the studio, because it's going to come with the popularity of a character, if you ask me. So guys, what do you think of this? Spider-Man, is he the future face of the MCU now? And are you going to go back and see Avengers Endgame to check out the Far From Home trailer? You really don't need to, but just asking. So guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.